Well, thousands of residents in Louisiana have been ordered to evacuate their homes as Tropical Storm Barry approaches the Gulf Coast. Barry will be the first tropical storm to hit the U.S. this year. It's expected to make landfall as early as tonight. CBS News' Hillary Lane is in New Orleans with the latest.
As Tropical Storm Barry closes in on the Louisiana coast with 50-mile-per-hour winds and heavy rain, these fishermen knew it was time to hunker down.
It's just with the levee systems, I mean, why take that chance, you know? Anything could happen out there. High water, winds.
The National Weather Service says there's a chance the slow-moving storm could strengthen into a hurricane as it comes ashore later today or Saturday.
The National Weather Service, they're using terms like life-threatening floods. This was never going to be a wind event.
With all the rain, the Mississippi River is expected to crest at 19 feet, just a foot below the tops of the levees.
Obviously, conditions can change, so residents should stay vigilant and prepared should any changes occur.
City officials say the storm will be a test for the levees protecting New Orleans. Areas of Louisiana could get as much as 20 to 25 inches of rain. Drivers waited in long lines to fill up at the pump, while others filled sandbags to protect their homes in Lafitte. Residents say they aren't taking any chances with this storm.
Bring flashlights and good batteries and stuff like that, because that's the routine. This area right here, we always got to evacuate.
National Guard troops have been deployed around the state to help those stranded by the flooding. Hillary Lane, CBS News, New Orleans.
I want to turn now to CBS News weather producer David Parkinson. David, what more do we know about the storm's path?
Yeah, so we are learning more about this storm intensifying. In fact, the wind's now 65 miles an hour. You're seeing a little bit more starting to fire up to the south of it. It's still crawling. It's still moving at 5 miles an hour. So that's not good news. It means that there's going to be a longer period of time where some water can pile up there. As we take a look at what the satellite will show you, here's the interesting thing. The picture of the direction of this storm is now back to a Category 1. The National Weather Service for about a 12-hour period had said this is only going to be a 70-mile-an-hour tropical storm. We're now back to a Category 1 at 7 a.m. Saturday Central Time as it's making its landfall. And then by 7 p.m., you're starting to see it have a little bit more forward progress as a tropical storm, then a tropical depression by Sunday morning, and just a low-pressure system as it moves on out. But in terms of what we're looking at in this storm, in terms of why we think that this is actually going to get stronger, you can see there's more convection, there's more cloud tops that are firing up here, and we're not worried as much as we take a look at the water vapor loop about some dry air fitting its way in there. So that's the interesting thing. There was some dry air that tried to push its way into the storm. It ended up not being able to do that. And so as a result, you've got a more healthy looking storm than we had about 12 hours ago. That's why they feel confident in upgrading that forecast. There's that water vapor loop there with some of the dry air. And look, we've closed off the circulation, so we're not going to be seeing that. In terms of the threats out of this storm, it's both a storm surge threat and a freshwater flooding threat. Storm surge because look at all of this water pushing on, the counterclockwise flow coming off of the center of this storm. Watch it as it moves through here, makes its landfall, and again, you're pushing all of this water right up into Lake Pontchartrain, right up along the southern coast here, and right into the Mississippi River, and that's why there's the real concern, because the Mississippi River is already at levels where it's never been in a tropical season. So that's the real concern here. How much freshwater flooding? That's how much rain coming down from the sky. Well, here's the question. If you have a more westerly track, this is the official National Weather Service track, you see the heaviest rain stays west of New Orleans by about 50 miles. You're looking at Baton Rouge being in the bullseye of about 2 feet of rain there, and you're seeing that down to the coast. But here's the interesting thing. If you take a look at the spaghetti models, this is where the National Hurricane Center model is. This is all of these ones that track to the west. But there are still 4 models that push it to the east. If the storm were to trend to the east, we take that rainfall total and we actually shove it to the east. So the next map that I'm going to show you actually shows you what that would look like. Take a look. That's 1.5 feet of rain over New Orleans. That's 2 feet of rain on the north side of Lake Pontchartrain. And that's why we're really concerned. New Orleans is not in the clear yet, but they could just barely dodge a bullet. In fact, here's the interesting thing. At the strongest wind, that's going to be on your Saturday morning. You're seeing these bands start to push into Baton Rouge. I think Baton Rouge is seeing the most rain here because watch as we march this through time. This heavy band of red just stays over them for about a day. And look at that number count up there. 26.5 inches of rain is possible out of this storm somewhere. We think it's Baton Rouge right now, but it's just as easy that that could shift to the east, to New Orleans. That's why they're on alert, and that's why you need to be continuing to watch the storm. We'll certainly do that here as well.
We will be tracking this, absolutely. David Parkinson, thank you so much.